What if the secret to a strong, peaceful, and truly fruitful life isn't trying harder, but staying connected? What if everything changes the moment you truly understand what it means to abide? Because, let's be honest, we live in a world that rewards effort, hustle, and constant movement. Wake up earlier, work harder, fix yourself, improve everything. And yet, so many people are exhausted. Not because they're lazy, but because they're trying to carry a life that was never meant to be carried alone. And in the middle of that pressure, in the middle of that noise, Jesus says something completely different. Not try harder, not be better, not earn more. He says, abide in me. Simple words, but they might be the most misunderstood instruction in the entire Christian life. So what does that actually mean? Does it mean praying longer, reading more chapters, trying harder to be spiritual? Or is it something deeper, something quieter, something relational? Today, we're going to walk through John 15, step by step. And by the end, you won't just understand abiding, you'll feel it. 1. The setting, why this moment matters. Before we define abide, we need to understand when Jesus said this. This wasn't a random teaching. This was one of his final conversations before the cross. Everything he says here is intentional, focused, urgent. He knows he's about to leave physically. So what does he emphasize? Not strategy, not performance, connection. In John 15:1, he says, I am the true vine, and my Father is the gardener. That image would have hit deeply, because throughout the Old Testament, Israel was described as a vine, but a failing one. A vine that didn't produce good fruit. And now Jesus steps in and says, I am the true vine. In other words, I am what life is supposed to be connected to. Then he says something that defines everything. You are the branches. Think about that. The vine is the source. The branch is completely dependent. The fruit is the visible result. And here's the truth most people miss. Branches don't produce fruit by trying harder. They produce fruit by staying connected. 2. What does abide actually mean? The word abide means to remain, to stay, to dwell, to continue in. It's not a one-time action, it's an ongoing relationship. In John 15:4, Jesus says, abide in me, and I in you. As the branch cannot bear fruit by itself, neither can you. Notice what he doesn't say. He doesn't say, impress me, perform for me, earn for me. He says, stay with me. Abiding is not about striving. It's about staying. Think of it like this. A phone doesn't try to charge itself. It simply stays connected to the power source. The moment it disconnects, it starts draining. That's exactly how most people live spiritually. Connected occasionally, drained constantly. But when you abide, when you stay connected, strength becomes natural. Peace becomes steady. Clarity becomes consistent. 3. Why abiding is not optional. Jesus makes this very clear in John 15:5. Apart from me, you can do nothing. That's not an exaggeration. That's reality. You can be busy, productive, even successful by the world's standards, but without connection to Him, there is no lasting fruit. So what is this fruit? It's not just results, it's transformation. Love that isn't forced. Joy that isn't dependent on circumstances. Peace that doesn't collapse under pressure. Patience when everything tests you. Self-control when emotions rise. You don't manufacture these things. They grow. And they only grow when you stay connected. Because fruit is not something you produce, it's something you receive through connection.
4. What happens when we disconnect? Jesus doesn't just explain the blessing. He also gives a warning. In John 15:6, a branch that does not abide withers. That word matters. Withering is slow. It's not instant failure. It's gradual dryness. And that's what happens to many people, not because they turned away dramatically, but because they slowly disconnected. And it shows up like this. You feel spiritually dry. You lose passion for things that once mattered. You feel anxious even when life is okay. You're busy, but empty. You're doing everything except staying connected. And here's the dangerous part. You can look active, but be spiritually exhausted. You can serve, but not be sustained. That's why Jesus repeats abide over and over, because he knows we drift. Now, let's make this practical, because abiding isn't complicated, but it does require intention. 1. Stay in his word. Not just reading it, but letting it live in you. Let it shape how you think, how you respond, how you see situations. 2. Walk in obedience. Obedience is not restriction, it's alignment. Every time you obey, you stay connected to the flow of life. 3. Stay in constant conversation, prayer. Not formal, not forced, just real. Talking to God throughout your day, in decisions, in stress, in silence. 4. Remain in his love. This is where many people struggle. They try to earn what's already been given. Abiding means resting in this truth. You are already loved, already accepted, already held. 5. Stay connected to others. Faith is personal, but never meant to be isolated. We grow stronger in community. The result of abiding. When you truly abide, something shifts. Not overnight, but undeniably. You become more peaceful without forcing it, more patient without pretending, more clear without overthinking. Jesus says in John 15:11 that your joy may be full, not partial, not temporary, full. And then something even deeper happens. Your life begins to impact others, not because you're trying to impress them, but because something real is flowing through you. You don't just live, you overflow. Final thought. So what does it really mean to abide? It means staying when you would normally drift, trusting when you would normally strive, resting when the world tells you to perform. Because the Christian life was never meant to be lived by effort alone. It was meant to be lived through connection. And when you stay connected, you don't just survive life, you bear fruit in it, quietly, consistently, powerfully. If this spoke to you, take a moment and just say, Lord, teach me to abide, because everything changes when you stay connected.